More.
Advaita Acharya said, "My dear friends, what shall I say? Today I have received the highest transcendental pleasure. After many, many days, Lord Krishna is in my house." Report. This is a song composed by Vidyapati. Sometimes the word Madhava is misunderstood to refer to Madhavendra Puri. Advaita Acharya was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and consequently, some people think that he was referring to Madhavendra Puri by using the word Madhava. But actually, this is not the fact. This song was composed to commemorate the separation of Krishna from Radharani during Krishna's absence in Mathura. It is thought that this song was sung by Srimati Radharani when Krishna returned. It is technically called Mathura Biraha. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kadambaikyam Dadati Shapandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before speaking, I would like to request blessings from all devotees, and particularly those who are senior by age and or advancement in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So a couple of things about this verse and the previous few verses. We saw that during the kirtan, Advaita Acharya began to dance. And at this time, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was advanced in age, over 70, probably over 80. But his dancing was as a result of spiritual connections. When one is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and there's some bliss as a result, naturally one wants to dance for Krishna to show appreciation in the participation in the Sankirtan process. In the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, when they had the first kirtans in Washington Square Park and Tompkins Square Park, Srila Prabhupada remarked when Brahmananda and Kirtanananda got up first to dance during the kirtan, spontaneously. He didn't tell them to, but they did. But it was a natural consequence, chanting and dancing for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Advaita Acharya, even in his advanced age, that's why it says even Advaita Acharya danced. And then what happened behind him was dancing who? Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. So I don't know, it's not clarified in detail what that means, dancing behind, but sometimes we saw Srila Prabhupada dancing kind of in a circle. You ever see that? Usually it wasn't in the temple. If it was in the temple, then he would do a little pirouette in front of the deities or behind the deities, so not to turn the back to, but so it may be that way. Advaita Acharya dancing, Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur dancing one behind each other. Okay. Then this current verse that we're looking at right now, my dear friends, what shall I say? Today I have received the highest transcendental pleasure. After many, many days, Lord Krishna is in my house. This is this is composed by the poet Vidyapati. And Vidyapati was extant prior to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So some like early 1400s and so Lord Chaitanya was 1486 appearance. So this was 24 years after that, 1486 plus 1510. So Vidyapati, and so even though it's Vidyapati is said to be composing this verse, it's said that this song was sung by Srimati Radharani. So how is that? How is that? So sometimes it's true that devotees can channel the sentiments, the thoughts, and the devotion of great devotees, and even Srimati Radharani, in this case, Vidyapati, did that with this verse. And this verse, interestingly, was chanted by the Gaudiya Math devotees in front of the Rath cart during Rath Yatra. It was traditionally chanted. This is very interesting. So it was chanted here by Advaita Acharya and chanted also in front of the Rath cart by the Gaudiya Math devotees. So one question is it is thought that this song was sung by Srimati Radharani when Krishna returned. What do you make of that?
In happiness. She was very happy. That's what she
returned from where?
Mathura. Mathura.
Do we have any example of Krishna returning or from Mathura? So then when is this return? Anybody? We say that Krishna, on one hand, Krishna never takes a step outside of Vrindavan. You've heard that before. That's in the, yeah. But at the same time, when he leaves in his Mathura form, goes to Mathura, then he doesn't come back. Or does he? According to this verse, at some point he comes back.
Her imaginations.
What's that?
She was just imagining.
So it was just, it says, it is thought that this song was sung by Srimati Radharani when Krishna returned. Oh, so you're saying it was just Krishna's, Srimati Radharani's thoughts in her mind that he was returning, perhaps not. Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Any other contributions on this idea? No.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. This is Bhavagrahi Janardana?
Yes.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now, I may have this situation wrong. I hope not, but could it be when he came back from Navadvip, when he was the prince, and that's where the Rath Yatra kind of came from, where when he came back and then when he tried to leave, they wanted to keep him?
Oh, you mean when he was in Dwarka? And then
Dwarka,
they met,
yes, I'm sorry, yes, Dwarka.
That's all right. And they met at Kurukshetra, right?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, certainly that reflects the same kind of mood, although here the verse is in my house, right? In my house. So it wouldn't, in Kurukshetra, nobody brought their houses there that I'm aware of.
True.
Yeah. So but certainly it does reflect that same idea, same sentiment, transcendental sentiment, not material sentiment. The only thing I was thinking was that although generally we say, and in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's no definite statement about Lord Krishna after leaving Vrindavan in his manifest Mathura and Dwarka forms, that he returns to Vrindavan. But in one commentary that's included in the Srimad Bhagavatam purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it says there that when after the Rajasuya sacrifice, Lord Krishna went back to Dwarka. And at Dwarka, why did he go so quickly after the Rajas? Because Shalva, the demon, was attacking Dwarka. So that was after he killed Shishupal during the Rajasuya sacrifice. Then he went back to Dwarka and he liberated Shalva. And then Narada Muni told him that there's another demon who was friends with Shishupal, who's really itching for a fight. And that demon's name was Dantavakra.
Oh.
So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not easy to understand where the confrontation with Dantavakra took place. But the other Puranas and the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clarifies that then Lord Krishna left Dwaraka with the permission of his associates and queens to fight with Dantavakra. Ordinarily, the queens were very guarded and very concerned about Lord Krishna going back to Vrindavan because they didn't want to lose him. But because he had a job to do, which was to take care of Dantavakra, and that was the pretense for him going, it was agreed. So he went on his way to Mathura. There was a little town outside of Mathura where the battle between Krishna and Dantavakra took place. And then he was able to liberate Dantavakra. Subsequently, he visited Vrindavan. So it's not specified here if that's the time, but that's the only other time I know that Sri Krishna returned to Vrindavan after leaving as a young boy. This is very interesting.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhu, I'm wondering if also it may simply be Prabhupada's purport may be a description of Srimati Radharani's internal absorption, going into separation and then meeting, and as Lord Caitanya did so often, he'd be feeling the intense separation of Krishna and then the presence of Krishna and then the separation and the presence. So I'm wondering if it's more of an internal description of not imagining, but experiencing the separation and then the uniting of herself with Krishna. I don't know.
Certainly, those are certain possibilities. Mother Vindyavali, that idea, and certainly what Bhava Grahi Janardhan Prabhu said also. So it's not clarified here, and I just gave that another possibility, and it's a little bit mysterious what was being referred to, and sometimes it's not easy to live with mystery. But Advaita Acharya was saying this in the mood of Vidyapati and Srimati Radharani. So interesting points. Okay, next verse.
এই পদ গাওয়াইয়া হর্ষে করেন নর্তন শ্বেতকম্প পুলকাশ্রু হুঙ্কার গর্জন.
Advaita Acharya led the Sankirtan party, and with great pleasure he sang this verse. There was a manifestation of ecstatic perspiration, shivering, raised hairs, tears in the eyes, and sometimes thundering and bellowing.
ফিরি ফিরি কভু প্রভুর ধরেন চরণ, চরণে ধরিয়া প্রভুরে বলেন বচন।
While dancing, Advaita Acharya would sometimes turn around and around and catch the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya would then speak to him as follows. So there's some persons, they're mostly in the Muslim line of the Sufis. They're called, have you heard of the whirling dervishes?
Mhm.
It's actually a corruption of Daravish, but they like to turn round and round and round. Maybe you did that when you were a kid, whirling around and becoming dizzy. So apparently, this is also done by Advaita Acharya here, and then catching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't see that done too much in the dancing in temples. I don't remember Srila Prabhupada ever doing that, but here it is by Advaita Acharya.
অনেক দিন তুমি মোরে বেড়াইলে ভান্ডিয়া, ঘরেতে পাইয়াছি এবে রাখিব বাঁধিয়া।
Sri Advaita Acharya would say, many days you escaped me by bluffing. Now I have you in my home and I will keep you bound up.
এত বলি আচার্য আনন্দে করেন নর্তন, প্রহরেক রাত্রি আচার্য কইল সংকীর্তন।
So speaking, Advaita Acharya performed congregational chanting with great pleasure for 3 hours that night and danced all the time.
প্রেমের উৎকণ্ঠ প্রভুর নাহি কৃষ্ণ সঙ্গ, বিরহে বাড়িল প্রেম জ্বালার তরঙ্গ।
When Advaita Acharya danced in that way, Lord Chaitanya felt ecstatic love for Krishna. And because of his separation, the waves and flames of love increased.
ব্যাকুল হয়া প্রভু ভূমিতে পড়িলা, গোসাই দেখিয়া আচার্য নৃত্য সম্বরিলা।
Being agitated by the ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly fell to the ground. Seeing this, Advaita Acharya stopped dancing.
প্রভুর অন্তর মুকুন্দ জানে ভালো মতে, ভাবের সদৃশ পদ লাগিলা গাইতে।
When Mukunda saw the ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he understood the feelings of the Lord and began to sing many stanzas augmenting the force of the Lord's ecstasy.
আচার্য উঠাইল প্রভুকে করিতে নর্তন, পদ শুনি প্রভুর অঙ্গ না যায় ধারণ।
Advaita Acharya raised the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to help him dance. But the Lord, after hearing the stanzas sung by Mukunda, could not be held due to his bodily symptoms.
অশ্রু কম্প পুলক স্বেদ গদগদ বচন, ক্ষণে উঠে ক্ষণে পড়ে ক্ষণেক রোদন।
Tears fell from his eyes, and his whole body trembled. His bodily hair stood on end, he perspired heavily, and his words faltered. Sometimes he stood, and sometimes he fell, and sometimes he cried.
হা হা প্রাণ প্রিয় সখী, কি না হইল মোরে, কানু প্রেম বিষে মোর তনু মন জ্বরে।
Mukunda sang, my dear intimate friend, what has not happened to me? Due to the effects of the poison of love for Krishna, my body and mind have been severely afflicted. Purport. When Mukunda saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling ecstatic pain and manifesting ecstatic bodily symptoms, all due to feelings of separation from Krishna. He sang songs about Srimati Radharani's meeting with Krishna. Advaita Acharya also stopped dancing. But we see Lord Chaitanya's ecstatic symptoms being displayed here during the Sankirtan festival at Advaita Acharya's house. Sometimes we see that a person might imitate these transcendental symptoms, like faltering of the voice, perspiring, tears falling down, etc. Hair standing on end. But one can test. Usually afterwards, you'll find it's very common that a weed and the actual devotional creeper look very similar, especially in their early stages. So, but an expert devotee needs to know studies the difference so that they can stay away or remove the weeds and nourish and water the real devotional creeper. So these symptoms are often imitated by pretenders, but then subsequently you'll see, sometimes they'll be smoking, drinking, engaging in all kinds of other non-transcendental activities, so that you can know, this was just for show and not the real thing. But these are real transcendental symptoms that is experienced not only by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but by a sincere devotee who's making progress in the chanting of the holy name. And when the heart becomes cleansed of things like desire, lust, material lust, bodily conception of life, then these symptoms will become manifest. Narottam Das Thakur prays that way. Gauranga bolite habe. When chanting the name Gauranga, Pulaka Sharir, will my body's hair stand on end. Hori Hori bolite, and by chanting Hari Hari, Nayane Bhaviniya, will my eyes fill with tears. So he's praying in that way. And we can also be following Narottam Das Thakur. We can also pray not to be do it in a fake way, but that it really our hearts become purified, so that when we do chant Hare Krishna or Gauranga, the great feelings of love and are manifest in our consciousness. It's interesting also that in Srila Prabhupada's first published essay in the West on chanting Hare Krishna, that we distribute the little pamphlet on chanting Hare Krishna, these symptoms of ecstasy are delineated right off the bat. He talks about how one may not have immediately experienced these symptoms of ecstasy, but by continue to chant, then you will get those. Comments, questions? Okay.
রাত্রি দিনে পড়ে মন শোয়াস্তি না পাং যাহা গেলে কানু পান তাহা উড়ি যান.
My feeling is like this. My mind burns day and night, and I can get no rest. If there were some place I could go to meet Krishna, I would immediately fly there.
এই পদ গায় মুকুন্দ মধুর সুস্বরে শুনিয়া প্রভুর চিত্ত অন্তরে বিদরে.
This stanza was sung by Mukunda in a very sweet voice. But as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this stanza, his mind went to pieces.
নির্বেদ বিষাদ হর্ষ চাপল্য গর্ব দৈন্য প্রভুর সহিত যুদ্ধ করে ভাব সৈন্য.
The transcendental ecstatic symptoms of disappointment, moroseness, pleasure, restlessness, pride, and humility all began to fight like soldiers within the Lord. Harsha is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Harsha is experienced when one finally attains the desired goal of life and consequently becomes very glad. When harsha is present, the body shivers and one's bodily hairs stand on end. There are perspiration, tears, and an outburst of passion and madness. The mouth becomes swollen, and one experiences inertia and illusion. When a person attains his desired object and feels very fortunate, the luster of his body increases. Because of his own qualities and feelings of greatness, he does not care for anyone else. And this is called garva, or pride. In this condition, one utters prayers and does not reply to others' inquiries. Looking at one's own body, concealing one's desires, and not heeding the words of others are symptoms visible in the ecstasy of garva. Text 128.
জ্বর জ্বর হইল প্রভু ভাবের প্রহারে ভূমিতে পড়িল শ্বাস নাহিক শরীরে।
The entire body of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu began to totter due to the onslaught of various ecstatic symptoms. As a result, he immediately fell to the ground and his breathing almost stopped.
দেখিয়া চিন্তিত হইল দেখিয়া চিন্তিত হইলা যত ভক্তগণ আচম্বিত উঠে প্রভু করিয়া গর্জন।
Upon seeing the condition of the Lord, all the devotees became very anxious. Then, suddenly, the Lord got up and began to make thundering sounds.
বল বল বলে নাচে আনন্দে বিহ্বল বুঝন না যায় ভাব তরঙ্গ প্রবল।
Upon standing up, the Lord said, "Go on speaking, go on speaking." Thus he began to dance, overwhelmed with pleasure. No one could understand the strong waves of this ecstasy.
নিত্যানন্দ সঙ্গে বুলে প্রভুকে ধরিয়া আচার্য হরিদাস বুলে পাছে তো নাচিয়া।
Lord Nityananda began to walk with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see that he would not fall. And Advaitacharya and Haridas Thakur followed them, dancing.
এই মতো প্রহরেক নাচে প্রভু রঙ্গে কবু হর্ষ কবু বিষাদ ভাবের তরঙ্গে।
In this way, the Lord danced for at least 3 hours. Sometimes the symptoms of ecstasy were visible, including pleasure, moroseness, and many other waves of ecstatic emotional love.
3 দিন উপবাসে করিয়া ভোজন উদ্দণ্ড নৃত্যতে প্রভুর হইল পরিশ্রম।
The Lord had been fasting for 3 days, and after that period, he took edibles sumptuously. Thus, when he danced and jumped high, he became a little fatigued.
তবু তো না জানে শ্রম প্রেমাবিষ্ট হয়া নিত্যানন্দ মহাপ্রভুকে রাখিল ধরিয়া।
Being fully absorbed in love of Godhead, he would not understand his fatigue, but Nityananda Prabhu, catching him, stopped his dancing.
আচার্য গোসাই তবে রাখিল কীর্তন নানা সেবা করি প্রভুকে করাইল শয়ন।
Although the Lord was fatigued, Nityananda Prabhu kept him steady by holding him. At that time, Advaitacharya suspended the chanting and by rendering various services to the Lord, made him lie down to rest.
এই মতো 10 দিন ভোজন কীর্তন একরূপে করে প্রভুর সেবন।
For 10 continuous days, Advaitacharya held feasting and chanting in the evening. He served the Lord in this way without any change.
প্রভাতে আচার্য রত্ন দোলায় চড়ায়া ভক্তগণ সঙ্গে আইলা শচী মাতা লয়া।
In the morning, Chandrasekhar seated Sachi Mata in a palanquin and brought her from her house with many devotees. So we're going backwards a little bit. He talks about the 10 days of chanting and Sankirtan, but now after the first day, when Advaitacharya and his wife cooked for Lord Chaitanya, now Mother Sachi is coming.
নদিয়া নগরের লোক স্ত্রী বালক বৃদ্ধ সব লোক আইলা হইল সংঘট্ট সমৃদ্ধ।
In this way, all the people of the town of Madhya, including all women, boys, and old men, came there. Thus the crowd increased.
প্রাতঃকৃত্য করে নাম সংকীর্তন শচীমাতা লয়া আইলা অদ্বৈত ভবন।
In the morning, after regular duties were completed and the Lord was chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the people accompanied Sachi Mata to the house of Advaitacharya. So Advaitacharya had two houses. One was in the neighborhood of Lord Chaitanya's house and where the Yoga Pit is, his place in Mayapur, and one is in Shantipur. And the distance between Mayapur and Shantipur is about 25 miles.
শচী আগে পড়িলা প্রভু দণ্ডবৎ হয়া কান্দিতে লাগিলা শচী কোলে উঠাইয়া।
As soon as Mother Sachi appeared on the scene, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell before her like a stick. Mother Sachi began to cry, taking the Lord on her lap.
দোহার দর্শনে দুহে হইলা বিপল কেশ না দেখিয়া শচী হইলা বিকল।
Upon seeing each other, they both became overwhelmed. Seeing the Lord's head without hair, Mother Sachi became greatly agitated.
অঙ্গ মুছে মুখ চুম্বে করে নিরীক্ষণ দেখিতে না পায় অশ্রু ভরিল নয়ন।
Out of love, she began to caress the body of the Lord. Sometimes she kissed his face and tried to observe him carefully, but because her eyes were filled with tears, she could not see.
কান্দিয়া কহেন শচী বাছারে নিমাই বিশ্বরূপ সম না করিহ নিঠুরাই।
Understanding that Lord Chaitanya had accepted the renounced order of life, Sachi Mata, crying, said to the Lord, "My darling Nimai, do not be cruel like Vishwarup, your elder brother."
সন্ন্যাসী হইয়া পুনঃ না দিল দর্শন তুমি তৈছে কইলে মোর হইবে মরণ।
Mother Sachi continued, "After accepting the renounced order, Vishwarup never again gave me audience. If you do like him, that will certainly be the death of me."
কান্দিয়া বলেন প্রভু শুনো মোর আই তোমার শরীর এই মোর কিছু নাই।
The Lord replied, "My dear mother, please hear. This body belongs to you. I do not possess anything."
তোমার পালিত দেহ জন্ম তোমা হইতে কোটি জন্মে তোমার কোটি জন্মে তোমার ঋণ না পারি শোধিতে।
This body was raised by you, and it comes from you. I cannot repay this debt even in millions of births.
জানি বা না জানি কইল যদ্যপি সন্ন্যাস, তথাপি তোমারে কভু নহিব উদাস।
Knowingly or unknowingly, I have accepted this renounced order. Still, I shall never be indifferent to you.
তুমি যাহা কহ আমি তাহাই রহিব, তুমি যেই আজ্ঞা করো সেই তো করিব।
My dear mother, wherever you ask me to stay, I shall stay, and whatever you order, I shall execute.
এত বলি পুনঃ পুনঃ করে নমস্কার, তুষ্ট হয়া আই কোলে করে বারবার।
Saying this, the Lord offered obeisances to his mother again and again. And Mother Sachi, being pleased, took him again and again on her lap.
তবে আই লয়া আচার্য গেলা অভ্যন্তর, ভক্তগণ মিলিতে প্রভু হইলা সতর।
Then Advaita Acharya took Mother Sachi within the house. The Lord was immediately ready to meet all the devotees.
একে একে মিলিল প্রভু সব ভক্তগণ, সবার মুখ দেখি করে দৃঢ় আলিঙ্গন।
The Lord met all the devotees one after the other, and looking at everyone's face individually, he embraced them tightly.
কেশ না দেখিয়া ভক্ত যদ্যপি পায় দুঃখ, সৌন্দর্য দেখিতে তবু পায় মহাসুখ।
Although the devotees were very unhappy at not seeing the Lord's hair, they nonetheless derived great happiness from seeing his beauty.
শ্রীবাস রামাই বিদ্যানিধি গদাধর গঙ্গাদাস বক্রেশ্বর মুরারি শুক্লাম্বর বুদ্ধিমন্ত খান নন্দন শ্রীধর বিজয় বাসুদেব দামোদর মুকুন্দ সঞ্জয়, কত নাম লইব যত নবদ্বীপবাসী, সবারে মিলিলা প্রভু কৃপা দৃষ্টে হাসি।
Srivas, Ramai, Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar, Gangadas, Vakreshwar, Murari, Shuklambara, Buddhimanta Khan, Nandana, Sridhar, Vijay, Vasudev, Damodar, Mukunda, Sanjay, and all the others, however many I can mention. Indeed, all the inhabitants of Navadvip arrived there, and the Lord met them with smiles and glances of mercy. So, there's a couple of comments here that Lord Chaitanya is meeting the devotees, and he's seeing each one personally, face to face, and then embracing them and looking at them deeply in their eyes. So this is very personal, a personal exchange. The exchange that he had with his mother, also offering repeated obeisances and heartfelt appreciation of his mother, is very touching. And these are transcendental relationships. They may, and they're going on also in the spiritual world, all centered on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So it's not that in the spiritual world there are no relationships, but the relationships there are free from inebriety, selfishness, anger, material anger, etc. A couple of questions I have. So you'll see that there are these different devotees are mentioned who've come from Navadvip, and it said that all the inhabitants of Navadvip came to see Lord Chaitanya in Shantipur, but there's some that we don't hear about. Who can you think of any who are not mentioned here? that we know of from Navadvip? I'm catching you off guard. Nobody? Come on.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I think Lord Chaitanya's wife.
Yes. Yes. We don't hear that Mother Vishnupriya is coming. It says all the devotees, but and certainly she was devotee of Lord Chaitanya, but she's not mentioned. And that's because generally speaking, after sannyas, the sannyasi doesn't associate with his former wife. It's called like civil suicide. So she didn't come. Mother Vishnupriya didn't come. So, and it's not that that they're completely indifferent to their previous relatives or wife. Even Srila Prabhupada, he took sannyas later, of course, when he was about 60 some. But in his will, he left means for his former family, his wife and kids too. It's not that they're completely cut off, but at least no direct association is there. Now the other devotees that we don't hear about here in this list. I was thinking of, we don't hear about Jagai Madhya, do we? They had been converted, right? And they were important, but they're not mentioned. So I don't know if they came. We know that after Lord Chaitanya's converting and liberating them, that they felt very fallen, and there was they would stay by a ghat where people would come and they would offer obeisances to the residents of Navadvip and ask their forgiveness while they were chanting so many rounds. So we don't know if they came. We don't hear about Chandkazi coming. He's not mentioned. Of course, he had some business as a magistrate there, but we don't hear about Gopal Chapal. Of course, he had offended Srivas Thakur. So anyway, when he says all the devotees, it's almost all, not exactly all, every single one. Do you follow? Comments, questions? Prananath, you
No problem.
okay.
Next verse.
Yes.
আনন্দে নাচয় সবে বলি হরি হরি আচার্য মন্দির হইল শ্রী বৈকুণ্ঠপুরী.
Everyone was chanting the holy names of Hari and dancing. In this way, the domicile of Advaitacharya was converted into Sri Vaikuntha Puri. That's how it's done, yeah.
যত লোক আইল মহাপ্রভুকে দেখিতে নানা গ্রাম হইতে আর নবদ্বীপ হইতে.
People came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from various villages nearby, from other villages nearby, as well as Navadvip.
সবাকারে বাসা দিল ভক্ষ অন্নপান বহুদিন আচার্য গোসাই কইল সমাধান.
To everyone who came to see the Lord from villages nearby, especially from Navadvip, Advaitacharya gave residential quarters, as well as all kinds of eatables. For many days, indeed, he properly adjusted everything. So how did he do that? Everybody came. They may not have had motels or hotels nearby. He gave catering, but he arranged everything. It's very interesting.
আচার্য গোসাইর ভাণ্ডার অক্ষয় অব্যয় যত দ্রব্য বয় করে তত দ্রব্য হয়।
The supplies of Advaita Acharya were inexhaustible and indestructible. As many goods and commodities as he used, just as many again appeared. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Yes.
সেই দিন হইতে শচী করেন রন্ধন, ভক্তগণ লয়া প্রভু করেন ভোজন।
From the day Sachimata arrived at the house of Advaita Acharya, she took charge of the cooking, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dined in the company of all the devotees.
দিনে আচার্যের প্রীতি, প্রভুর দর্শন, রাত্রে লোক দেখে প্রভুর নর্তন কীর্তন।
All the people who came there during the day saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the friendly behavior of Advaita Acharya. At night, they had the opportunity to see the Lord's dancing and hear his chanting.
কীর্তন করিতে প্রভুর সর্বভাবোদয়, স্তম্ভ কম্প পুলকাশ্রু গদগদ প্রলয়।
When the Lord performed kirtan, he manifested all kinds of transcendental symptoms. He appeared stunned and trembling. His hair stood on end and his voice faltered. There were tears of devastation. Purport. Devastation is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as a combination of happiness and distress that becomes conspicuous by an absence of any sense of them. In this condition, a devotee falls to the ground, and the subsequent symptoms in the body ensue. These symptoms are mentioned above, and when they become prominent in the body, a state called pralaya, devastation, is manifest.
ক্ষণে ক্ষণে পরে প্রভু আছাড় খায়া, দেখি শচীমাতা কহে রোদন করিয়া।
Frequently, the Lord would tumble to the ground. Seeing this, Mother Sachi would cry.
চূর্ণ হইল হেন বাস নিমাই কলেবর, হাহা করি বিষ্ণু পাশে মাগে এই বর।
Srimati Sachi Devi thought that the body of Nimai was being smashed when he fell down. So she cried, "Alas!" and petitioned Lord Vishnu.
বাল্যকাল হইতে তোমার যে কইলুম সেবন, তার এই ফল মোরে দেহ নারায়ণ।
My dear Lord, kindly bestow this benediction as a result of whatever service I have rendered unto you from my childhood.
যে কালে নেমাই পড়ে ধরণী উপরে, ব্যথা যেন নাহি লাগে নেমাই শরীরে।
Whenever Nimai falls to the surface of the earth, please do not let him feel any pain.
এই মতো শচী দেবী বাৎসল্যে বিবল, হর্ষ ভয় দৈন্যভাবে হইল বিকল।
When Mother Sachi was thus overwhelmed in maternal love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she became transformed with happiness, fear, and humility, as well as bodily symptoms. Purport. These verses indicate that Mother Sachi, born in the family of Nilambar Chakravarti, used to worship Lord Vishnu even before her marriage. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 641, Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shasvati shama suchinam srimatam gehe yoga brashto bhijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born in a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Mother Sachi, a Nitya Siddha living entity, is an incarnation of Mother Jashoda. She appeared in the house of Nilambar Chakravarti and was everlastingly engaged in the service of Lord Vishnu. Later, she directly had as her child Lord Vishnu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and she served him from the day of his appearance. This is the position of Nitya Siddha associates. Sri Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings, Gaurangir Sangi Gone Nitya Siddha Korimane. Every devotee should know that all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his family members, friends, and other associates were all Nitya Siddhas. A Nitya Siddha never forgets the service of the Lord. He is always engaged, even from childhood, in worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So Mother Sachi, fearing for Lord Chaitanya's bodily health, was concerned when he was falling to the ground repeatedly, and she offered prayers. Of course, we step back, we have information from the beginning of Caitanya Caritamrita that Lord Chaitanya is none other than Krishna himself, the source of everything. He's God. So what is the possibility that he will be injured? But because of Mother Sachi's being influenced by Yoga Maya, in the mood of a mother, she forgets Lord Chaitanya's divinity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so she can think of him as her child and therefore try to protect him and feed him in various ways, even though ultimately he doesn't need those things, but he likes that from his devotee. Questions, comments, additions, subtractions? Interesting point also is that when the Yoga Pit temple was being excavated in Mayapur, Lord Chaitanya's appearance place, they dug the foundation and they found Adhokshaja Vishnu deity there. Was said to be the deity of Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi from the time of Lord Chaitanya. So that confirms this idea that even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance there, in worshipping Lord Vishnu. Mother Sundari.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I did not have any comment or question. I don't know what happened.
Okay, you went from muted to non-mute, so I thought you might have something to say. Anything else? Anyone else?
Well, Hare Krishna Prabhu, perhaps, where did you say this deity is that Mother Sachi worshipped?
Oh, I don't know where it is now, but I know that when Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he determined the actual place of Mayapur, and then collected Lakshmi to build a temple there at Lord Chaitanya's birth site, which is just I'm sure you've been to Mayapur. Just you make a right turn, you go down there, and that's where Lord Chaitanya's appearance site is. Later, that temple was taken over by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. A little bit, some not completely, but anyway, when the initial temple was being built, they had to build a foundation. They dug and they found that deity. Where that deity is now, I don't know. Good question. Maybe someone knows.
Yeah.
And Prabhu,
Yes.
this would be Lord Vishnu deity, no feminine counterpart, strictly
Right.
Lord Vishnu, correct?
Right. That's correct. As far as I know, yeah.
Prabhu?
Yeah.
That deity is still there at Yoga Pit. I have a picture of that.
Oh, who is that? Is that
It's
Radha
someone.
Ramana?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Raman. Yeah, Radha.
So it's still there.
Still there. I have a picture of the deity.
Oh, could you send?
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful. Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
very tiny. But so you can't see it from a distance.
That's why, yeah. And is it, in which part of the Yogapith complex is it?
Right in front of the main deities in the center.
The main temple, not this where they have the deity of Shachimata over there. No. Okay. Good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.